How you living, Guardians? Welcome to another strike showcase. Up on the hero level Nightfall is the Disgraced strike in the Cosmodrome. Arc Surge running an Arc Warlock is anti-barrier and unstoppable, so season A deep, that means hand cannons and auto rifles. And with that being said, this is a fun Arc build that I normally run Cold Heart with, but here we are for the stuns. This is a rather unique strike because this is the Will of Crota Omnigul strike from Destiny 1 rehashed to incorporate Navoda, a slightly different boss room, and that's really about the only differences. But that's fine. This is a very clever way to introduce a Destiny 1 strike to Destiny 2, but have it have some actual relevancy. Navota, for those of you that have done the New Light quest chain, whether as a New Light yourself or just to experience it like I have when it came out, Navota is kind of your antagonist in the New Light quest chain. And the New Light quest chain ends with you forcing Navota to flee, and thus disgracing Navota, and this is the continuation of that little story. So that's actually pretty cool. We already have two Destiny 1 strikes, right? We have Fallen Saber and Devil's Lair, and they don't really have story narrative per se. They're more like, they're kind of like the Legend Raids in a way, where it's just a point in time to experience, which is fine. But this actually has a bit of relevancy in terms of the story for a new light or even an old light. You know, a New Light disgraces Navota, and then a fire team comprised of veterans goes in and deals with it, or whatever the case might be. You know, it all depends on what your Guardian is, right? So, with that said, the whole thing plays out more or less like it does in Destiny 1. We go from the patrol zone where we started, we spiral up to this area, we have to kill enemies to get the barrier to drop, and then we move forward and kill more enemies. Now, obviously being a Nightfall, we have champions, and we don't have variation in what's in that room. Every time I've done this strike, it's always been Fallen in that room, and I believe you can get Hive in that room in Destiny 1. In any case, I'm not going to compare it because this is Navota's strike, the Disgraced, and while, like I said, there really isn't too much in any kind of overt change outside of who the boss is and the boss room, we have basically the Will of Crota Omnigul strike. So this is what makes it unique, and I appreciate that. For example, if they ever wanted to do that with a future strike, I would be all for it, right? If they wanted to, let's say, bring a strike in a future season, but it's a Destiny 1 strike, or it is whatever the case is, some type of strike that maybe existed as no longer in Destiny 2, but they wanted to revise it in a way where it's a different boss and tells a different story, totally for it. In any case, the Shriekers in this area don't open up right away, so just be careful about that. Listen for the audio cue if you're not looking at them. In high tier Nightfalls, you're basically going to be in that back room the whole time, killing things as they come, because this gets very lethal out here, regardless of surges. So, with that being the case, just be careful. But once we clear out basically unofficial waves of enemies, we will be moving on to the next section. So we are halfway through this strike already, more or less. Thinking about what we got to do, because once we get past this area, we go out into basically no man's land, what would be another patrol area that we just run through, and then we're a hop, skip, and a jump away from the actual boss room. So this is a very condensed strike, and it's a staple of how Destiny 1 strikes are. I think in being used to Destiny 2 strikes, looking back at Destiny 1 strikes that originally, having played them in Destiny 1, that we might have thought were longer or whatever the case might be, not that this is one of them, but just in general, turns out to be the case that they're not as long as we remember, because Destiny 2 has strikes that are have us traversing half of the planet almost, it feels like, right? In any case, this is a very compact strike with no hacking, no official waves of enemies, just a quick surgical strike in to deal with a foe, which is very fitting for dealing with a disgraced Hive Wizard leader like Navota here. So this section does have enemies spawn in, but it's got no score modifier. This is basically a patrol section, and kind of the rule of thumb, if you're newer to Nightfalls, is that if there's no score modifier, you blitz past it. And that's what I'm doing here and what everybody typically does. So that's a quick little jaunt through a patrol area, and now we're into the only hacking, I guess you could say, in here is to open a door. It doesn't even count. But anyways, I guess technically there's hacking. Well, we don't have to defend the ghost from anything. And here we are in the Jovian complex, and we are encountering the boss, but this is not the boss room, nor is it the boss fight. Now, with Omnigul, you could kill Omnigul in Destiny 1 out here early. I forget why we used to do that. I think it was for a chance at potential rewards or whatever, or having better or a second chance at the strikes we typically. I forget exactly why we did it, but we used to at times do that. And when this strike first came back, or came to us, I should say, as Navota, the attempt was made to kill Navota out here, and I believe when we did, nothing happened. The boss just was in the boss room, full health, no problem. So this is one of those instances where the boss is there, but you don't really need to waste shots or anything like that on the boss. You just want to kill everything else to get the Hive Ruins on the door to go away, so we can go into the boss room. So a good amount of ad slaying. This is kind of like ad slaying the strike, which is always fun. So with that said, once the gates open, we go into the boss room. Now in Destiny 1, the boss room was just the one room, but we have a wall blown out here that leads down to a high portal, and that's the change, right? We didn't have that in Destiny 1, so this room is actually quite a bit bigger than it was in Destiny 1, which gives you more wiggle room if you're just feeling there's too much heat going on. Between the boss and ads, you get more room to run around and try and get out of sight and recover, so that's kind of neat, and it adds extra interest to the boss fight area. No Hive Ruins. The Hive Ruins we see used in like the Ghosts of the Deep dungeon, and with Witch Queen stuff and glyph stuff on the moon. We actually would see them here in the Omnigul Strike, but we don't see them here anymore because this is no longer empowered by Hive Ritual and Magic. It's a dilapidated area. So, with that said, the fight is just like it was in Destiny 1. Heavy health gating, but you know, solar shield, heavy health gating. At the health gate points, Navota, totally not Omnigul, disappears. We deal with ads, comes back, disappears. We deal with ads. You know, that type of situation. The final health gate tick area, Navota will not disappear but teleport down to the portal room. That's the one big difference, since we didn't have that room in Destiny 1. And they just continue wailing on her until you defeat her. So, I think they did a good job here. I think mission accomplished for what they were trying to do, which is give us another Destiny 1 strike without giving us a Destiny 1 strike. It is something that I feel helps, because honestly, I think if this was just Will of Crota Omnigul Strike again, people might roll their eyes at it. You know, if it was literally, I mean, this is the way it plays, but I think if it was actually just that in terms of the name of the strike and the boss and everything else, I think people might go, wow, we got 3 Destiny 1 strikes with the Cosmodrome, but they kind of snuck a third one in here, but not really snuck it in, but it's justified in being here, put it to you that way. Now, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to something like that in the future, let's say with the moon, with the Hive Abomination, or, you know, having for some reason for us to go to there would be really, really cool. We don't really get to go to Mars, so I can't really say anything there. But, you know, I just feel like there's a lot of strike content in Destiny's repertoire already between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. And even if they wanted to take a Destiny 1 strike on a, let's say, from Venus, and we can't go to Venus, but put it somewhere else, like on Nessus or whatever, with slightly different, I mean, that would take a lot more work, but that's not something I would be opposed to either. So I kind of like this concept for a strike. In any case, even seeing the strike play out is really basic in terms of talking about it. Like, there's nothing really insightful I can say aside from "don't die," and that's super insightful, right? But in any case, the strike goes pretty quick, even as a hero level Nightfall, and even as like a GM. If you were going to attack this on a GM level, provided it would definitely take longer, and you would hang back and be more passive about it in certain respects, but it really doesn't take that long either. I know for having done one in the past, or done it a few times in the past. In any case, that's the whole strike. We dealt with Navota. That story arc is closed, which is pretty cool. So share your thoughts on the Disgraced strike. What do you think about it being a rework of Honorable Strike? I think it fits and it works. Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for tuning in and stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe to be part of future conversations like this one more easily. And until next time, Guardians, don't forget to commend your fellow fire team members and stay frosty.